Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Big Apple Hockey NHL Trade Deadline Talk. I am your host, Anthony Larocco from The Fourth Period. Mark Williams, he is traveling back from Arizona, so he will not be with me tonight. And the beloved Filk, he might be hopping on at some point. But just wanted to hop on and kind of break down the day, talk about all the action that went on. The latest is that Jake Guentzel has been traded to the Carolina Hurricanes pending a trade call. Both teams are playing right now, so it seems like after the game is settled, that trade will be finalized, and Jake Guentzel will be heading to the Carolina Hurricanes. All we know at this point is that Michael Bunting has been scratched tonight for the Hurricanes for trade-related reasons. So you got to assume that he is in the deal going to Pittsburgh. But once we find out more, we'll obviously break that down. But don't expect that to happen until maybe like 9:30 Eastern, 10 o'clock when the games are over. Then again, you never know. So quickly before I kind of just take your questions and whatnot, I just wanted to go over the day so far. So what happened today? So earlier today, the Maple Leafs acquired Joel Edmondson from the Capitals with 50% salary retention in exchange for a 2024 third and a 2025 fifth round pick. Much needed depth for the Maple Leafs on D. They just acquired Labushkin, but he's hurt. So Edmondson's another big body, can play log some minutes, tough guy. Bring some experience to their back end. The Edmonton Oilers acquired Troy Stecher and a 2024 seventh-round pick from Arizona in exchange for a 2027 fourth-round pick. Again, Troy Stecher, fun fact for you guys, this is the third straight trade deadline that he's been traded. So the Oilers pick up a depth defenseman. Colorado Avalanche, who have been very yesterday and today as well. They have acquired Brandon Duhaime from Minnesota in exchange for a 2026 third round pick. A good bottom six forward, could kind of kill some penalties, play at high energy games. So again, depth pickup for Colorado, which honestly today, a lot of the trades were more so minor depth trades. Aside from Guentzel, a lot of the big boys are still on the board. So hopefully tomorrow there's some fireworks. Also, Colorado Avalanche acquired Yakov Trenin and the signing rights for Sword from Nashville in exchange for Jeremy Hazel on a 2025 third round pick. This one actually, I think, is sneakily underrated. I like Yakov Trenin. I think he'll be good in Colorado's bottom six, bring some size too. So the Avalanche kind of loading up, and come playoff time, you always hear, like, you guys remember back in 2006 for the Oilers, Fernando Pisani was like a playoff hero, and some of these guys can be unsung heroes in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So good on the Avalanche for acquiring Trenin. And then lastly, Islanders' old friend, who's very familiar with Barry Trotz, the Nashville Predators acquire Anthony Beauvillier from Chicago in exchange for a 2024 fifth round pick. So that's where we are. That's where we were at for today. Again, mostly, and yes, my boy Filk is joining us. Always welcome the good John Puskowski. John, basically, I just recapped the trades that we saw today, so you didn't miss much right now. Again, most were all minor trades, but as we are waiting now, the big one, which is the Jake Guentzel to the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, that probably won't happen until after the game is over, when the trade call is finalized. But Phil, what are your thoughts on today? Kind of slow a little bit. Again, mostly minor trades, but any takeaways that you have from today?
I mean, the big fish is gone. Obviously, that's going to be announced probably either later tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll hear about that. Colorado makes another solid move. They give up a third round pick and get a fourth line center in Brandon Duhaime. I like that one. Edmonton gets Troy Stecher. I mean, I guess that's an okay seventh defenseman. I mean, if I were Edmonton, I would have went after Joel Edmondson. That's the guy that I would have went after if I were them. Toronto went and got him. I mean, Toronto's always needed physical defensemen for the playoffs, so I guess that's a good move for them. But Colorado, not even just getting Brandon Duhaime, they get Yakov Trenin too. It's the rich getting richer. Colorado is loading up. They want another cup and they want it badly. Mm-hmm. they're going to be a real tough team to play against. For me, I have to think of them as the favorites out of the West right now. That's just the team that I
Yeah,
look at, and I say that's the team to beat.
and you know what? You bring a good point because Colorado also. I don't think they're done. I mean, they still have some cap space to add. So I think they might be able to pull off some more moves here. But you know, I guess let's just start to change gears here. When you talk about the Rangers, we all know that they were in on Jake Guentzel. So I think we're in agreement. We talked about it yesterday. Alexander Wenberg can't be the move. So
No.
where does Chris Drury pivot from here? You think? I mean, there's Pavel Buchnevich, there's Tyler Toffoli, to a lesser degree, still a good player, but Anthony Duclair. So where do you think Chris Drury has his eyes set now?
I'd have to think they revisit Frank Vetrano. That's really I think that would be their number one target. Emily Kaplan is saying that the Kings are really locked in on a Tyler Toffoli reunion. So I'd imagine they probably have kicked the tires on Tyler Toffoli. I don't see Pavel Buchnevich happening for one of two reasons. One, the price is going to be high from St. Louis. So from what they're reporting, they want a lot for it. I do think the other reason is that it would involve Chris Drury admitting a possible mistake. And I don't think this organization wants to go back down that road. I think it's a bad look for them if they go and reacquire Pavel Buchnevich, because Pavel Buchnevich was supposedly part of I don't want to say a culture problem, but the lack of grit and toughness on this team was really Buchnevich was one of the big first moves that they made in terms of making that team tougher and shipping him to St. Louis for Sammy Blais, which obviously turned out to be a terrible deal for the Rangers. But I don't think they want to go back down that road. And I think with Buchnevich being a better player than Vetrano and him also having term left beyond this year, I think that price is going to be astronomical for Buchnevich. And it's not going to be worth what the Rangers would have to give up to get him. So I don't see that happening. Maybe Duclair is somebody they visit, but is that anything that's going to make you happy? No, I don't think so. I don't look at him as a guy that really has the ability to put it together come playoff time. Vetrano would be the one guy at this point. Toffoli would be my number two.
Yeah.
And what else is left after that?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of, I mean, forward wise, it's kind of slim after that because, Jason Zucker, but I kind of put him in the same category as Duclair. Maybe Duclair's a little better.
I know. I think
right now,
Zucker's a better player than Duclair.
All right. I mean, yeah, I think Zucker brings more intangibles, but I like Duclair's skill and speed to bring to a lineup. But it depends which team you're looking for. Like for instance, for the Islanders, they would need Duclair more than a Zucker. They need someone with more pure skill. But you know what though? I go back to this. I think Vetrano's the guy that Chris Drury pivots to right now. He knows him, obviously, and he's having a career year. He could shoot the hell out of a puck. Now the question is, he's previously balked at giving up a first round pick plus for Vetrano. Do you think now that he missed on?
It was Vetrano and Henrique. You gotta make sure that's in
yes.
there.
Henrique was in that deal. But now that he missed out on Guentzel, it appears so. Do you think now he'd be more willing to pay a first for Vetrano at this point?
Yes, as long as it doesn't require Kakko, Hoffman, or Perreault with it. I do think that he'd be willing to give up, especially for a player that has term beyond this year. The only problem is going to be making the cap work, because the Ducks, as B-Rye is saying, have used all three of their retention spots. We found that out yesterday.
Yeah.
So they can't retain. This is going to require a third team to come in and broker retention on the cap. So, and it might cost them, because not only is it this year that they're retaining, it's next year as well that they'd be retaining 50% or whatever it is that the team ends up retaining. So it might end up being a future pick down the road. And that won't be, I guess that's something that you'll have to cross that bridge when you get to it. But
Hot
I
take
would say
alert.
right now. I don't like that post at all. I'm sorry. I don't. I just think it's pretty short sighted. Sean, I'm gonna say this: if Tuck was available and Buffalo was willing to give him up and he was willing to leave Buffalo, I think we would hear a lot more talk about it. I don't think he wants to leave Buffalo. He's from Syracuse. He's from that area. I don't think he wants to leave. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. This is when I first signed on. I missed this, but Kevin asked, "Hey, what's the word against on the Rangers and the Canes?" And they said, "Could it change?" The thing I'll say to that is, I mean, chances are, yes, he's going to the Hurricanes. The only precedent, if you guys remember, back in the day, it was, I can't believe I say back in the day because I mean it just shows how old we're getting. But when Jerome McGinley was originally traded, at first it thought he was going to the Bruins, and everyone thought that's where he was going, and that kind of fell apart, and he ended up going to the Penguins. So I don't, to answer it. Yeah, I mean 95% chance he's going to the Hurricanes. Sure, I mean anything can happen, but it seems like at this point Jake Guentzel is a Carolina Hurricane. Um, and you know what the thing about Gensel going to the Hurricanes, it's bad for both New York teams. And I'll tell you why. You know, if the Islanders catch the Flyers for third, which honestly, with the Flyers kind of selling and the Islanders on a heater, find their games in hand, if the Islanders get that third spot, they would play the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round, and the Hurricanes give the Islanders fits in the playoffs. They've never beat them in the playoffs. So Gensel going to the Hurricanes isn't a good thing for the Islanders. And it's also not a good thing for the Rangers. You know, as we know, the Hurricanes have also given the Rangers fits, so that they don't really match up well against them. So Jake Guentzel going to the Hurricanes isn't a good thing for either New York team. But you know, like I said, there is an arms race right now, and they see the Florida Panthers loading up. Got even better with Vladimir Tarasenko. So good on the Hurricanes. Finally go for it, because this is a team that typically doesn't really invest big assets in a rental. You know, but I think this year they really want to get over the hump. And you know, so it's the right move for Don Waddell at the time with the Hurricanes, and good on him for recognizing and pulling the trigger and getting the big fish. Um, you know, just I understand you're Islander hater, but yes, they are. They're on a 4-game win streak, and if you saw our stream yesterday, which Phil even agreed, they beat really good teams: Dallas, Detroit, destroyed Boston, and then beat St. Louis. So put the blue and red sunglasses aside for a minute. Try to be a little impartial. The Islanders are on a heater and playing much better and trending in the right direction. Um, New York Panamoon says, as a Ranger fan, I'm not scared of the Canes with or without Gensel. You know, and that's fair, but you know, you got to give the Hurricanes their due. The Hurricanes are a really good team, and they just got a lot better by adding Jake Gensel. So it's good not to fear anybody. I admire that, but they certainly are a good team, and they, you know, with Gensel, they'll be able to do some damage here. Um, so we got here. What does this mean for Drury? Again, I don't. I mean, right now, nothing. And Chris Drury has put together a pretty good team. You know, the trade deadline's tomorrow at 3 o'clock, so there's still certainly a lot of options here out for him. You know, so try not to get on Drury a lot, because listen, we don't know what maybe he felt that he couldn't compete with. I mean, if the Hurricanes are offering one of their best prospects, Nikki Shin, out of the KHL, you know, that's a really good piece, and maybe he felt that, you know, giving up a guy like Perot or Othman, it wasn't worth it. So let's just wait to see what the full deal is, and then kind of go from there. But at this point, the only thing we know is that Michael Bunting is in the deal, as he was scratched for trade related reasons. I would imagine the Hurricanes are giving the Penguins a couple of picks, and again, maybe not maybe in some prospects, just a matter of if it's Nikishin or not. I'm not sure. Like I said, we'll probably find out in a couple of hours. B-Roy says Florida concerns me more than the Canes. I mean, yeah, the Florida Panthers are a complete wagon right now. They added Vladimir Tarasenko, who obviously has a nose for the net, can really shoot the puck. And don't count the Panthers out either. I mean, they were in the mix for Jake Guentzel too, which tells me that they are not done either. They're going to continue to add by tomorrow at 3 p.m. But yeah, I do agree though with your overall. The Panthers, if I had to pick, they're more of a worry than the Hurricanes overall. Um, Robert saying Carolina needs goaltending, not another winger. That is true. Freddie Anderson, though, is activated and playing tonight. He missed all that time with that blood. I think it was like a blood clot disease he had, something along those lines. So he's back in action. Hasn't played in a while, so he may have some rust, but um, you know, he's their only option right now. So for the Hurricanes, you have him back, and you just got to hope he finds his game. But yeah, overall, I would agree. I would say goaltending is their weakness, but who knows? Maybe Freddie Anderson comes back and he gets up to space quickly, and he can help him out. But um, I will say though, if he gets hot or Kachekov carries them, then that becomes a pretty scary proposition. Sees I just don't get this prospect hugging anymore. Yeah, you know what? And a lot of Islander fans kind of say the same thing with Lou trading first round picks, and it's good to have prospects, but at the same time, when you're in a mode where you're trying to win now, you move the pick, you move the prospects. Mike Rupp said it best on Twitter yesterday. I think it might have been in reference to Gensel, but he was talking about how he retweeted someone. He like made a joke about himself and said, "I was a first round pick." He's like, "Trade the pick, go for it." So it just pointed because it's true. I mean, you never know. You could have your first round pick, or you could have a guy that is highly touted, and then he ends up being a Mike Rupp. So I think when you're talking about a player like Jake Gensel that's available, when a guy of his caliber hits the market, you make the move. If you're a team that feels like you have a legitimate chance at winning the Stanley Cup. But that's just my opinion. I'm saying as a Penguin fan, I really hate to see Gensel go. Yeah, you know what? I know what it's like to be a fan of a team that's a seller. You want to be in a situation where your team's going to add. It's an exciting time of the year. But the Penguins right now, good on Kyle Dubas for seeing the writing on the wall. They didn't make the playoffs last year, and it was certainly trending in the direction they weren't going to make it this year. And it's all about asset management. You're not going to want Jake Gensel to walk and get nothing for him. So it was the right move to move him, and he has a chance to win a Stanley Cup. So good on him, and good on Dubas for making it happen. But um, I think when you kind of circle back to the Rangers, though, before we kind of pivot elsewhere, Phil was talking about Pavel Buchnevich. He was there before, but I think the cost on him is going to be pretty high, being that he has another year left on his contract. And the Blues are going to said to be willing to retain up to 50%. That's just going to make the return even more. So I don't know if I see it for him, Buchnevich, but I certainly can see the Rangers getting involved in Tyler Toffoli. He's got 26 goals on the year. He certainly would help the Rangers too. So, it's the thing. Even though Gensel is gone, there's still some big names out there to be moved tomorrow and going forward. So we'll just have to see what happens. But again, in terms of the Rangers and their fans, I know you're disappointed. You're used to getting the big fish. Usually, the Rangers always get their guy, but in this case, they weren't able to outbid the Carolina Hurricanes. Um, Salvatore made a good point. Pixar was a gamble. You could end up with Elias Anderson. That is absolutely true. You could also end up with a Griffin Reinhart, Islander high pick that they end up turning into Barzal and Beauvillier. So, yeah, I'm a firm believer that when you're in a win now mode, you move the prospect for a guy that you think can win the Stanley Cup. So, um, I don't know if this is necessarily would be a surprise, but again, I go back to what I just said. Tyler Toffoli for the Rangers. He's got 26 goals. He's got a good shot. Yeah, he's not Jake Guentzel scoring 40 goals, but I think Toffoli is certainly going to be coveted by a lot of teams. I can tell you, LA is interested. Vancouver's interested. Those are two teams I know for sure that have shown interest. I'm sure there are going to be many others too. He's saying who could be the Cinderella team this year? That's a good question because you look at what happened last year. the Florida Panthers looked like they were dead in the water. Um, they got hot down the stretch thanks to Alex Lyon out of all goalies, right? Put them on their back. They got into the playoffs like last day of the season, wild card two, upset the Bruins, go all the way to Stanley Cup Finals. So, um, if right now, Cinderella story, you know, I guess maybe Detroit, they're falling a little bit. Um, they're a team that has they're young. They play with a lot of speed. They have skill. My only hesitation with them is, oddly enough, I'm just talking about Alex Lyon carrying the Panthers into the playoffs last year. Alex Lyon's the goalie for the Detroit Red Wings right now. So if he can kind of get a little bit of that magic back, maybe they go on a run. Out west, Nashville's they're kind of like a unsung team that nobody's talking about. Looks like they're going to get into the playoffs. Barry Trotz's first year as general manager. So maybe them. I mean, when you have a quality goalie like UC Saros, when those guys get hot, they're capable of bringing a team a distance. And Pete, yeah, I mean the Islanders. I think that's a feeling that a lot of people have right now, is that you know they're playing really well right now. If they sneak in, same thing with Nashville. They got an elite goalie, Ilya Sorokin. He gets hot. Things are clicking right now. You never know. So those are just some of the teams, but I still think, for my money, the Panthers are probably the favorite to come out of the East. But that's why they play the games, though. You just don't know. Glad Jory didn't give up prospects and picks for a rental. And that's the thing. That's the one caveat to this, I will say. Unlike Lou Lamoriello, the Islanders, who whenever he trades for somebody, he does it because he knows he can re-sign him. If the Rangers were to trade for Guentzel, Guentzel and his agent had said that they weren't going to talk contract, and planned on going to free agency. So yeah, that would have stung a little bit if Drury gave up these pieces for Guentzel, and then knowing that he didn't have the cap space to re-sign him, and then he walked. That would have been a little bit of an uncomfortable position for Drury. So I feel you there. David, Drury is Seattle's number. Yeah, the latest update I could tell you about Eberle is that the Kraken are trying to re-sign Jordan Eberle. Report earlier that not much traction has been made on that. So it seems like if they don't sign him by the deadline tomorrow, chances are he's going to get moved. So yeah, Jordan Eberle could be a fit for the Rangers, which would be tough for Islander fans to see. Eberle in a Ranger uniform, but I certainly think that's another option for Chris Drury. Also saying kind of makes me the Phillies punting the season. I mean, listen, anything can still happen. It's not a guarantee, but the Flyers. I talked about this, yesterday on our stream. Everyone expected the Flyers to be bad this season, so this is kind of like house money that they're still in this position. And Danny Briere is being smart. He's not gonna be fooled by this and say, "Oh, we're ahead of schedule, and let me trade assets and buy and get in." He knows the deal, and he's being smart because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, last year you saw the Devils, make it to the playoffs. They won a round, and now this year they're not going to make the playoffs. Even if the Flyers still get in the playoffs, there's no guarantee that they make it again next year. I mean, if you look at their roster, they certainly have overachieved, and Tortorella is having one hell of a year coaching. So. Um, I think it's a smart move by Briere to kind of stand pat. And I wouldn't necessarily call it punting either. It's asset management. Scott Walker, he moved him to get something for him. So I have no issue with what Daniel Briere is doing. I think it's the smart thing to do.
This is a nice little dream.
Good to have you back, Phil.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no.
That's not happening. Just give up on that one, Robert.
Yeah, I would say in Arizona, Clayton Keller,
It's pretty much untouchable.
Logan Cooley, and Dylan Guenther are probably the untouchables on that roster. So none of those guys are going anywhere. No. I can offer you a slightly used Nick Bjugstad, though, if you would like. I think there's a chance they may move him. But yeah, Keller is a little bit of a pipe dream.
Jenner is not going anywhere, Ryan. Sorry, man. John Davidson said that they are
Yeah,
not trading Boone Jenner. So, I mean, that would be a real
no,
good fit for the Rangers. I'll tell you that right now. He's exactly what they want, but they are not trading him, and they don't have to trade him. He has term left on his deal, so they don't. Columbus doesn't have to trade him. He's their captain. I don't see any type of deal anytime soon for Jenner going anywhere, and especially after John Davidson being as vocal as he was about it. But I will say this: you get Jenner at 3.75, which is a real affordable cap hit for the player that he is. I mean, that's very good.
Chris, this is kind of funny, but no, honestly, in all seriousness, I mean, it's really no different. The Hurricanes are going to get him, and that's not good either. Because again, if the Islanders do pass the Flyers for third, that's who they'd play in the first round, the Hurricanes, and they already give the Islanders fits. So it's a lose lose proposition, to be honest with you. But that did make me chuckle. Yeah, I think tomorrow should still be pretty interesting, even with Guentzel off the board. There are still a lot of names out there. And you look at teams like, Tampa Bay, who was in the market for Hannafin and missed out. They've been quiet. They haven't done anything yet. It's aside from being a broker in one of those deals. So you would think they need to do something. Dallas up top the Central Division, they haven't really done anything yet. There's a lot of teams that kind of have just been idling by right
But
now.
what did
So
Dallas do?
hopefully that makes for a good flurry.
What would Dallas even do? That's the big thing for me.
I mean,
what?
they already added Chris Tanev, and they have a lot of scoring depth. So maybe they don't have to do anything.
I mean,
But
I mean, you have that line of Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski. Then you have Marchment, Duchesne, and Delandria. I mean, do you get another top? I mean, Sagan's out though. That's the thing. So at that point, like once Tyler Sagan comes back, and I don't think he's on LTIR. I think he's just out day to day. I don't think he's he's not even on IR. Never mind LTIR. The only LTIR cap they have is from Dodonov, and that's not a ton. That's only like 2.25 million. So
Toronto actually they traded for Ilya Lyubushkin last week, and today they traded for Joel Edmondson. So again, not huge moves, sexy moves, but they have made moves, and believe me, I would wager that they're going to be involved in something tomorrow too. So just watch that happen. Don't count out the Maple Leafs. Any noise from Detroit? So John and I actually talked about this yesterday. Similar thing with I was just saying with Philly and Briere. I don't know if Yzerman's going to stray from his Yzer plan. I don't. I mean, if the right deal falls in his lap, maybe he'll add, but he's not. I don't think he's going to trade picks and prospects for a rental. I don't, especially when his team is kind of on the bubble right now, I guess you could say, and he probably feels that I'm not gonna have a huge run, so it might be worth it to stay patient for one more year. But we'll see, though.
I want to highlight this comment here from Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan may need a wellness check because he's been on, no joke. I got up probably at about, I would say maybe about just before 10 o'clock. I got up and I went and got an egg sandwich, and I came back and I ate, and I went on to my Fire Stick and I saw that he was on. I was like, whoa, this is early if he's on. He's been on like all day supposedly. I checked, I think around like 6 o'clock and he was like still on streaming. I was like, holy crap. I was like, this kid is pulling a marathon. So yeah, I think he might need a wellness check. And if Everest, if Offman's just good, it's called development. It's not linear. You don't rush players. You don't.
Yeah.
What's going on, Smooth?
Jack, first time seeing you here, so welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, listen, if I know Philly's up 1-0 right now, but the Islanders win tonight combined with a Lightning loss, or the Red Wings are idle. So any way you slice it, an Islander win tonight puts them 2 points behind out of a playoff spot. I think Lou is looking. I don't think he's going to do anything major, but I certainly think he's in the market for Anthony Duclair, which oddly enough, the Islanders are playing the Sharks tonight, and he's scratched. So I could see a move like that. I could see Duclair. I could see a reunion with Kyle Oposo, even though at this point in his career he's more like of a bottom six player. I mean, if the price is right, again, John and I mentioned this on our stream yesterday when talking about the Rangers and Islanders both have recent history with trading New Jersey. If the Tyler Toffoli return is going to be somewhat similar to Tarasenko, I think he would be involved in Tyler Toffoli, but those are more along the lines I think he's looking at. I don't see him doing anything crazy, but again, you never know with Lou Lamoriello. The guy, as we all know, keeps everything so secretive that we can only speculate. But that's just my impression and my guess.
Yeah, Lou's very, very, very tight-lipped. Seems like Drury is running a pretty tight-lipped team right now as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty funny watching Carolina without Bunting and Pittsburgh without Guentzel. They're both on right now, and there are definitely still some storylines for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's definitely still deals to go over, and there's also going to be deals that are going to come out of nowhere. Players that end up getting dealt that we didn't think that were end up.
I think so.
So
like Bowen Byram for Casey Middlestat yesterday. That was one of those deals that,
yeah.
I mean, we knew Middlestat, name has been out there, but we didn't think it was gonna like a trade like that was going to occur. So
the Byram for Middlestat deal was one of those deals you just really don't see a ton of at the deadline. It was out of nowhere, but it made a lot of sense when you think about it because both teams had a need in those positions. Like, Buffalo still has Peyton Krebs to work with, to come in and be a second line center in the future. So Middlestat, I'm not going to say expendable, but he was a piece that they could have moved to get the defense that they wanted from Byram. And it works out well for both teams.
Yeah, no, it does. I think it's the Sabres have like embarrassment of riches now. Really, you got Darlene, Power, and Byram. I mean, that's pretty good. All young, all can skate, all can move the puck. So that's.
Think of it this way: if you need to divvy the pairings in terms of ice time, I mean, you can honestly put whatever defender with one of those three studs. And that just goes a long way for them in the future because when all those three are fully developed, they're going to be three absolute anchors for that defensive corps. And if Buffalo can go and add other pieces at forward and start adding some depth players and some responsible two-way forwards in their middle six, Buffalo is going to turn into a pretty damn dangerous team if Thompson can get back to that 90-point player that he was.
I think their fans are getting impatient, though. I mean, they've missed the playoffs for. I think them and the Jets, the football Jets, have the longest playoff droughts in all sports right now. The Sabres and the Jets. So, I think they're running out of patience, and yeah, I mean they got a good foundation, but I mean, when is it going to finally arrive for them? I think that's the question a lot of people have been, Sabre fans at least, have been asking. But Phil, Joe Shine here is asking you where you think the Rangers pivot to now. Where
Like
are
I
they
said
go? I know you
before,
were.
it's I would say it's got to be Vetrano at this point. I honestly think he's the best fit of anyone available. He's played with them before, and that line has
Mhm.
actually played well. So I'd imagine that Drury goes back there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing too, you got to think about. Chris Drury has shown that he's not afraid to go reacquire a player that he's acquired previously.
Hmm.
Uh, just take a look at Tyler Mott, for example. So
Yep. Now let me ask you this: let's just say tomorrow, all the Rangers do is, let's say they acquire. I'll use Jason Zucker as an example. In your mind, would this be a failure for Drury at the deadline with coming with Wenberg and Zucker?
I don't think it's a failure. I think, all right, so the way I look at it is this. Before maybe yesterday or the day before, nobody thought the Rangers were going to be in on Guentzel. Like the talk was that
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is not going to trade him to a rival, division tax. The Rangers aren't going to be able to re-sign him, so on. There was a lot of negativity around Guentzel. So the fact that they were in it until almost the very end just shows that Drury really tried to get something done. A disappointment for me would be if they got like maybe Duclair or someone in that lower tier of wing and Wenberg, and they didn't go get another addition on top of that. Like, let's just say they go get Vetrano, and then, for example, they somehow swing a deal for Nick Dowd. Like, as a Ranger fan, you have to feel pretty good about that team. And
Yeah.
I know that somebody was putting and say, "Oh, why Nick Dowd?" Because
Yeah.
Nick Dowd's actually a very good fourth line center,
Yeah.
and he would be a
Like
major upgrade over. Yeah,
I'm assuming that please no is the
I assume that's
yeah.
got to be towards Nick Dowd, but Nick
Yeah.
Dowd would be a major upgrade over Barclay Goodrow.
Mikey asking, would you rather Zucker over Duclair?
Yeah, definitely Zucker over Duclair. Absolutely, wouldn't even think twice about it.
And it's
to just declare. Okay, he's saying it to just declare. Okay, yeah, Duclair would not be an ideal fit for me. I don't like what I saw from him in the playoffs previously. I don't think he adds all that much. I think he's fast. He can score a goal here and there. And I mean, I don't think he gives you. Barabanov would be a good one.
So Barabanov, he's also not playing tonight for trade related reasons. So he's going to be traded tomorrow before 3 p.m.
If you told me you brought in Alex Barabanov for a fourth line, maybe even third line, okay, I'm cool with that. Barabanov would be a perfect third line fit for the Rangers. Like, let's just say their third line ends up being Cooley, Barabanov, and Wenberg. Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm more than okay with that.
Yeah, Barabanov's is a good player. He's a nice middle six player. He's not having the offensive year this year that he did last year, but he's a solid player.
Hurdle's not going anywhere. Sorry,
no.
He's not.
Yeah,
that's not
Hurdle's
happening.
Not.
That's wishful thinking. And the Rangers don't need Hurdle. They need a winger.
Yeah.
Unless Hurdle's going to come and play out of position, which I don't know why you would give up assets to do that. Yeah, Jay, maybe without the size and the strength
and more skill. I mean, Duclair has scored 30 goals more. He's got more skill than Gauthier.
He's also got more hockey smarts than Gauthier. Gauthier has a box of rocks for hockey brain. So no.
Joe Shen's asking, would Toffoli be okay, Phil?
Yeah, Tyler Toffoli would actually be a really good move. I think that if the Rangers got Tyler Toffoli, that would be a pretty big move for them. He's experienced.
Yeah.
He's got 2 Stanley Cups to his name. He's a playoff performer. He scores goals. He goes to the dirty areas to score goals where the Rangers need the help. They need players that are not going to be perimeter players come playoff time. They need 16-game players. Tyler Toffoli is a 16-game player.
Yep.
Oh, state of survival.
That.
Stop. We've already talked about Keller. I shot that down before. That's not happening.
Yeah. So John's saying the Calgary Flames right here are doing the Islanders a favor. If that score holds, Islanders get 2 points within Tampa Bay with 2 games in hand. So that's some help right now. So thanks for putting that score out. Appreciate it. Wicked, nice to see you as always. J.E. saying Toffoli going back to L.A. Yeah, I heard L.A. is certainly in the mix for Tyler Toffoli. I also heard Vancouver, but there's nothing concrete there. Scott M. saying I have a feeling the Rangers don't get Vetrano. And maybe they don't. Honestly, it's been, other than the reports of the Henrique and Vetrano that the Rangers turned down, I haven't heard Vetrano's name linked to many other teams, which is oddly enough. So I don't. And you got to remember, Vetrano has 1 year left on his deal. Pat Verbeek does not have to trade him. He's got term, so he unless he gets a really good offer like a first, he's not going to move him. He doesn't have to. So we'll just see there if a team steps up and gives him the offer. And I said this to Islander fans, guys. I don't want Lou Lamoriello trading a first round pick for a rental. I mean, granted, if he did, looking at his track record, Palmieri, Horvat, he re-signs them all. But Vetrano is the guy that I would not mind at all if he traded a first for, which honestly I'd prefer it, because Vetrano, he's still young enough, he's fast, he could score. So that's a guy that I think that I would condone Lou trading the first for. So we'll have to see there. What happens there, but he would fit like a glove, but he would fit like a glove on a lot of teams. So we'll see what happens there. James Adams took getting traded. I see Philk, you answered that. Yeah, I don't see Took getting traded. Again, Buffalo doesn't have to trade him. I think maybe if they got the right offer, they would consider it, but I wouldn't hold your breath. John, so last week they scouted the Senators back-to-back games, and then they had a scout there yesterday when against Anaheim. Now I know they're playing Anaheim soon, but I don't know for sure. I can tell you this: I found that they were looking at Josh Norris, but Josh Norris got hurt. He re-injured the same left shoulder that he's already had surgery on. So I think whatever deal that was going on there is dead. Obviously. Is there someone else in Ottawa they're looking at? I know they like Shane Pinto, but Ottawa, especially with Norris now, his future, let's say, is in question. They're not going to move center and in Pinto when you don't know what's going to happen with Norris. So unfortunately, I don't see Ottawa moving Shane Pinto at this point. And not for nothing, he's also been excellent since coming back from suspension. He's almost at a point per game the way he's playing. So.
I don't see Ottawa moving him. I really don't right now.
No.
Like you said, Norris with the shoulder, you don't know what's going on with him. You don't know how long he's going to be out for. You don't know what his future is going to be like, because that shoulder seems to be something that is going to nag him. So
Glass. Yeah.
Maybe.
Jay saying I would trade Vetrano straight up for first. I think Anaheim wants a little more than just. I think in a perfect world, I think they want a first plus prospect. Will a team give it? I
I
don't
would say a
know.
lower level prospect, but you're not looking at anybody close to Othman or Perot or anybody like that for Vetrano. Like I'm not
Yeah.
giving that up for Vetrano.
What makes Vetrano valuable though is that his cap hit. I mean, these days you see it so much, Phil, that players are getting overpaid. They're not worth their cap hit. This guy's producing the way he's producing, and he only makes 3.85 million. So that's what's attractive for Vetrano is that he's at that good value cap hit for another year after this season. And again, that also goes back to Pat Verbeek doesn't have to trade him. He could hold on to him. Um, and see what develops next year, and then maybe move him next year. But he's a good player, though. John D giving an update. Now it's 4-1 Calgary over Tampa. So the Lightning. See, Phil, I'm telling you, the Lightning. This isn't the same Tampa Bay Lightning team as last couple of years. I got to assume that Breezewall is going to do something
I was
by
just going
tomorrow
to
at
say
2 o'clock.
this game is going to make them go do something tomorrow, and I don't know if it's going to be something big, but they're going to do something. Telling you right now, they're going to do something, and you know what? Yes, it's great that Tampa loses this game for the Islanders' sake, but I'm telling you right now, that's going to just motivate Breezewall to go do something. So if I'm the Islanders, there's an upside and a downside to this.
Now, who do they get though? I mean, they were in the market for a defenseman. Do they pony up for Jacob Chikrin? Do they trade for Matt Dumba, who's not playing tonight for trade related reasons? Where does Tampa really go for
I
defense?
imagine Dumbo was
David
probably
Savard,
their guy.
David Savard.
Savard, yeah, that could be one. That could. I mean, he was with them previously.
Jay says, "But pony up what?" In reference to the Lightning's light
Yeah,
prospect. I'm
that's the
assuming
only thing.
their light prospect.
Then again, I mean that team, they seem to get good deals often for players.
Yeah.
So I don't really like. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow came away with Chikrin. Like I really wouldn't. Like it just. And not only that, but they have the cap space to make something like that work with obviously with Sergachev being out and probably until next year. So, yeah, I could in some weird way I could definitely see Chikrin to Tampa happening. I don't know what they have really to get it done. That's going to be the issue. Are they going to trade another first rounder that's all the way down the road, and then whatever prospects they have left? I don't know what else they could really deal. Mario Ferraro in San Jose could probably help. Tampa Bay out quite a bit too. So that could be somebody that I would say to look out for. I would have said Zach Bogosian, but all right. Logan Stankoven's not going anywhere, man. He's not going anywhere. Dallas is not moving Stankoven. It's teams don't do that. They just don't. So, yeah, I mean, they should have traded Stamkos, but Stamkos didn't want to leave. So, yeah, I like that Duhaime deal for Colorado. I really do. They didn't give up much to get him, and I think he's a solid fourth line center. So, I do agree there. I do agree, Scott. I think they need a better. I don't trust Gustafsson. Gustafsson's the guy that I worry about in the playoffs because his game is not exactly great defensively. And yeah, Colorado for me has won this deadline so far. I think they've been the best team. Kaliev, because he could use a change of scenery. That's why you're seeing rumors about Kaliev. So, I would relax. Between you and Everest, I think both of you two need a Xanax, but that's just me. The playoffs, the game is not played on paper. It's played on the ice. So let's see what happens tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens going forward. So we'll see what happens, but There's still time left. I mean, we have until 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And then there you go. We'll see what we go to war with. I think Drury makes 2 moves. I think he goes and gets the winger that he needs. And I think he goes and gets a depth defenseman. Yes, thank you, Scotty. Thank you. Boston lost to Florida. Anything can happen. Like, share, and subscribe, like Mike says. And what do I think the chances are of the Rangers making a trade versus standing pat? I think it's 100% that they're making a trade tomorrow. I like this one. Eric Johnson for Zach Jones. If Buffalo can retain and make that work, I would absolutely take Eric Johnson tomorrow. I would absolutely do it. And Vetrano fits, J.E. He fits. He's proven he can fit on that line with Kreider and Zibanejad. I think they could beat Boston. I think they could beat the Canes. Florida is the team that worries me the most. Would I trade a first in Jones for Vetrano? Yeah, I would probably rather move Jones for Eric Johnson if that's what it's going to take. No, Marco Scandella is not. Or he's not really an answer. I don't like him at all. I don't think he's any good. No, the Islanders are not going to trade Brock Nelson to the Rangers. Why would they do that? I do agree with this. I think they need some grit up front. Vetrano would bring that. Yeah, I was about to say Vetrano definitely fit on that line with Zibanejad and Kreider. I think he's even a better player now than he was back then. I think his numbers are a little inflated by power play time, but yeah. What are the chances Kakko gets traded? I think it's almost 0 now. I think they were possibly considering it for Guentzel, but unless Alex Tuck becomes available, I don't think that they trade Kakko. I think he stays. My biggest thing here now is Kakko and Brennan Othmann have to develop and have to become top 6 players and have to help this team win a cup. They have to. I don't think there's any way around it, because if those 2 pieces were what held up Jake Guentzel, held up a deal to get Jake Guentzel from Pittsburgh, then now they have to go and they have to develop with this team, and they have to help this team win. Because if they trade Kakko this offseason and they didn't trade him for Jake Guentzel, that is going to look so bad unless they get like a proven top-end talent back for Kakko. Like, I mean, a legitimate proven top-end talent that ends up becoming available in the offseason. Yeah, and they have to develop at this point. Kakko, the biggest thing that I see for him is he has to improve his speed. His foot speed is not good. It's not. And it has not really improved since when they came back to the bubble. And really, it's his edge work that really improved. But his foot speed's got to improve. I don't understand why he isn't working with Mikko Rantanen's skating coach all the time on his skating. Because Mikko Rantanen's skating improved big time. All right, so hold on. I'm trying to get a comment up here. Yeah, Kakko isn't what stopped Guentzel. It's most likely Perreault. If Perreault's what stopped them, yeah, I understand that then at that point. No, you do not get rid of Perreault for a rental. Yeah, his shot needs to improve. Yeah, but it has been improving. I think confidence is a big thing with Kakko. There's no top elite end player tomorrow. I don't I don't see that. Guentzel was that guy, but there's not really any anymore, unless something comes out of left field for a player that we don't really know about that's somehow available. I don't see how that happens. So Connor McDavid got his 100th point. Yeah, he did. He got an assist. He now has 100 points. He is 9 back of McKinnon, 5 back of Kucherov. I can't believe that they're losing to Columbus 3-1 still. Like, how is that? Oh yeah, this is something I said, was that if you went and got Guentzel, you had to go make another move to go bring in somebody like Barabanov at that point. So Mario, I don't see either of them happening. Othman wasn't ready when he was up earlier in the year. I think Othman plays on the team next year, though. I think provided that he improves physically in terms of like speed and strength and everything like that, I think that he'll be on the team next year. Perreault is, he signed and he's in college. He's not going to be up for, I would say, another 2 years. I don't think you see him up until 25, 26. That's not happening. They're not bringing up Gabriel Perreault right now. He's actually injured right now, so that's not happening. He's missed a few games now. So Will Smith has actually overtaken the scoring lead in the NCAA, but Perreault is still first in points per game. Yeah, I'm sure Hugh Jessman's rights are going to be a big one. Jason Zucker, we talked about. That would be a decent deal. Depending on the cost, that would be a decent deal. He could come in and help. I think Vetrano fits better, though, if you ask me. Yeah, I hope so, too, at this point, Jay. I hope that the Rangers, if they weren't trying to get Guentzel, then they were trying to just drive up the price on Carolina and get them to give up a ton more than what they should have. So I'm hoping it's something like Bunting, Nikishin, first-round pick, and another top prospect from Carolina on top of that, It's not just Bunting in a first. The call is not official yet. It's not official. There's no trade call. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, so there's nothing. He's part of the deal. I mean, so I don't think Marty Necas is a part of that deal. I would love it if it was, but it's Bunting. Bunting's the roster player from it. I don't really even want Buchnevich, to tell you the truth. I would rather Vetrano. He plays the more of a playoff type game. Jay Lewis, I highly doubt it because they're still dealing in division. Yes, Dubas loves Bunting. Loves him. Maybe Matt Zuccarello, for all we know. Matt Zuccarello would be a good one. I don't really care for some of the other options that are out there, but if Zuccarello was somebody that Minnesota was willing to move, then Zuccarello could be good fit with his old buddies. They played together in 2018-19, right before Zuccarello got dealt to Dallas. So He plays with Kaprizov. He can play with top players, Scott. Yeah, and he signed an extension, so. Yeah, Vegas. That's what Vegas is pretty much going to do. They're going to cap circumvent again just because they're Vegas and they know they could get away with it, so they continue to do it. Surprised more teams don't. I think it's going to take a first and an okay prospect to get Vetrano. I don't think it's going to cost a ton to get him, and it shouldn't. I mean, this is a guy that's really kind of overachieving this year, and his numbers are going to diminish wherever he goes because he's likely not going to be a top power play guy in a lot of these teams. Like he's not going to be a top power play guy in Florida. He wouldn't be a top power play guy in Tampa. He wouldn't be a top power play guy in Las Vegas. He wouldn't be a top power play guy with the Rangers. Maybe on the Islanders, but I mean, yeah, I would say on the Islanders, I think he would. I think you could get rid of Anders Lee off of that unit and have that unit be Barzal, Horvat, Vetrano, Dobson, and somebody else. And I think that unit would actually be pretty good. I think getting Gaudreau out of the lineup will have as much an effect. Yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying get me Nick Dowd. Jay, I don't think Edmonton is nearing Warren Fogle. Sorry. Anaheim wanted a first and Kako for Vetrano and Henrique. Henrique's no longer there, so now it's just Vetrano. So, Everest, I'm going to need you to relax, man. Relax. Just calm down. We still have tomorrow and the rest of the season to go. And the Rangers weren't supposed to beat Carolina 2 years ago. And even I called it. I said that the Rangers were not beating Carolina in that playoff series before the start of that series on here. I called it. I said Carolina was winning that series. And the Rangers won that series. And I ate crow. So. If Hannafin gets 7 per, what's Dobson's market? I think you're looking at probably 7.5 to 8 to Dobson, probably because maybe even closer to 9 to keep him. I think that maybe I think the minimum for Dobson, you're probably looking at an 8x8 64 for a $64 million deal, 8x8 for him. Anthony, I think you probably think along the same line somewhere.
Yeah, sorry, I had to do bedtime duties there, but yeah, I would say, he's on pace to have over 80 points. If he actually does that, he's gonna put himself in the category of guys who have hit that mark before, Fox, Makar. So I think his agent's gonna ask for certainly upwards of 8. You're not getting Dobson for less than 8. My guess right now is 8.5. 9 million, most likely.
I'm actually gonna go a little off topic here. So 2 years ago, Washington Capitals forward Ivan Miroshnichenko was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. He received a call from someone very famous, also a hockey player, well-known one, who ended up going through the same thing in 1992, 1993. Guy named Mario Lemieux. You guys might know him. And Mario called him and said, life doesn't end. You're going to recover. Fast forward to March 7th, 2024. Ivan Miroshnichenko scores his first NHL goal against the team owned by the guy that gave him a call to lift his spirits up and kind of prop him up there a bit. What an amazing story that is. That's an incredible story. To me, that's an incredible story. I mean, for anybody who's ever lost
Um,
anyone to cancer, this is a hell of a story. So, definitely congratulations to Ivan Miroshnichenko for not only beating Hodgkin's lymphoma, but coming back to play in the NHL and score his first NHL goal against the team that's owned by Mario Lemieux. So, great story. Love to
yeah,
see it.
good on him to score to get his first NHL goal, especially against coming against the Penguins. That's special.
Yeah, and I mean that's a classy
Yeah,
move by Mario to call him too. I mean that's
yeah,
really something else for Mario to reach out and
yeah,
considering what Mario went through and how he could barely tie his own skates coming back from that and stuff, from all the
yeah.
reports and the videos and the interviews from anybody who were on those teams around those
Hmm.
times. So, but no THG, I did not see it, so I couldn't tell you, but I saw the tweet from Tom Galiti, who writes for the NHL. So
Hey Phil, do pigs fly?
I said this before. I literally answered that before, and I asked him why the Islanders
Oh,
would do that. Yeah, that's not happening. The Islanders and the
um,
Rangers have never made a major trade like that. I think the last trade the Islanders and the Rangers made was that
the last one
the
I remember was
Yuri
Yuri
Niemi trade.
Niemi.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
just said
that's the
there.
last one that yeah.
And that
That's the
was like
last one I remember.
2008. Was that 2008? I think that was.
Uh, I think so. Yeah, I do. I think it was 2008.
Yeah,
I
because
could
they
check.
they yeah
So they
Mark.
without Mark, yes, Mark. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Mark lost his father, and that's why he
Yeah,
hasn't been on. But he's coming back home. He's actually on his way. He's actually on a plane back home now. He actually had to go to
yeah,
Arizona for the wake and the funeral and everything. So he'll be on with us tomorrow. He'll probably be
yep.
lacking sleep and gaffing things and stuff like that. But he'll probably be happy to be doing the stream and be back on with everybody.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so good. So
He's
we'll put that on.
he's been talking in a group text, like just wishing and hoping NHL teams hold off on the trade so he could be here for it and have it happen tomorrow. So I've been busting his
Yeah.
balls saying that it looks like you're not getting your wish because there's been some action the last 2 days. But now hopefully tomorrow is still a good day. Like I said, there's still a whole slew of names out there that we know are going to be traded. So it just seems like it's a matter of time.
Oh,
So
geez. Ric Flair is riding the Zamboni right now at the Edmonton Oilers Columbus Blue Jackets game in Columbus, promoting his Woo energy drink.
yeah,
This is
that's pretty
insane.
that's pretty funny.
Insane. Oh my God, Rick. And he's got this crazy jacket on, this like almost tie-dye-ish looking jacket from like the 70s. He's got sunglasses on. Now the lights went out. He's still got the sunglasses on. And he's got a mic in his hand.
he's
He
the
just, oh, this is ridiculous.
he's the nature boy. That's all I can
Um,
say.
I did not go to Sting's very last match. I went to Sting's last match in New York at Nassau Coliseum for AEW World's End. So I went to that one, and that was absolutely great. But Sting's last match Sunday night was incredible too. So Ric Flair went a couple of years ago, was kicked out of a bar in your city. Oh man.
Saying if I told you again on Sunday, you would have said I'm full of shit. It's not the end of the world. They're going to be better by tomorrow night. Um, yeah, I mean, I would assume they're going to be better because they already got Wenberg, and they're going to. I gotta imagine they're going to acquire somebody tomorrow. Who I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
They're
How
gonna
would you
make two
feel?
moves tomorrow.
How would you feel about Jordan Eberle? The reports are that he this Kraken trying to sign him to an extension, but if it doesn't get done, he might be moved. So, what are your thoughts on Jordan Eberle being a target for the Rangers?
I think it's possible. Would I be as happy? I don't know. He doesn't. I mean, he's not a bad player. He's older, and I don't know how much he has left in the tank, and I don't know how much he could really help. But I mean, I guess it's better
I
than
mean, he did score
nothing.
60. He did have like 60 points or so last year, right?
No,
So he's still
no, it
one of
wasn't
the
that.
years in Seattle. One of the years in Seattle, he's been there for 2. I'm pretty sure one of the years in Seattle, he reached 60 points.
No, it wasn't 60. Oh no, it was. Holy crap.
Yeah.
63 last year? I thought he had like
Well,
55
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
I mean, he has 37 in 58 games so far, which is not terrible. But I mean, he can play with faster guys. Uh, Not only is Matt Dumba sitting out, but Jason Zucker's sitting out.
Yeah.
And Nick Bukestad is missing the game for family reasons. So maybe Nick Bukestad is not dealt.
I mean, that Arizona team is certainly going to trade Dumba and Zucker by tomorrow. Uh, I think Dumba could be an option for Tampa. Though, like I said, they're looking for defense. Zucker can go. I mean, Zucker would fit a lot of teams. I mean, he's that guy who can score 20 goals and give you some grit. So I think a lot of teams are going to be in the market for Zucker. But I think like Zucker and Duclair, those guys are going to be like plan C's for the teams that miss out on Buchnevich, Vetrano, Toffoli, etc.
Yeah,
David saying, I
Zucker
think
makes
short of.
five. Go ahead.
No, I was saying with David saying he thinks short of Butch, Vetrano, Eberle fits the bill. Won't take a huge return. No need to re-sign him.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they do need a passer on that line, which part of why I like Zuccarello, even though I don't think Zuccarello's going anywhere.
Yeah,
Everly's on pace for about 52 points, which shows you that he still has. Eberle is not traded
he's
to the Predators.
yeah. I think he might be thinking of Beauvillier. Beauvillier was the
Yeah,
one reunited
Beauvillier,
with
yeah.
Trotz in Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Yep.
Eberle, it's Beauvillier. But Zucker makes
No,
5.3 against the cap, and then Dumba makes 3.9 against the cap. So, yeah, I don't know if I don't think there's going to be any teams that are going after them as a package deal, but yeah.
Jay. No, I mean I've tried to get some. I've tried to get some info. No one has anything. It's really just all speculation about who they're looking at based on what their needs are. But again, I think as I said at the top of the show, I think he's in the market for like a Duclair level type player. Again, to Foley, if the price is right, that's just my assumption.
Eberle was not traded. It was Beauvillier.
Yeah, it was Beauvillier. Jordan Eberle has not been traded today. He has
Yeah, I
not
don't
been
know why.
traded today. I
I don't know if he's
100%
just
tell you
trolling
that.
us or if he just continues.
Yeah.
Lou, Goodrow's not playing third line center. It's Wenberg. Wenberg's playing third line center. And Laviolette was tinkering with lines before in practice. And even Vince Mercogliano stated that not to read too much into it because Laviolette was just toying with ideas to try to get fits. So if you saw Goodrow slotted in on third line, I mean, don't worry about it.
Like he's saying, Eberle is better than any right wing the Rangers have.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wouldn't hate the Eberle deal depending on like what it cost to get him. I just wonder if he's a real needle mover. I don't know. I think he could help it, but
Yeah.
I would trade Keandre Miller for Jacob Chikrin. I would do it. I know there are a lot of people who wouldn't, but I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they made that deal, I'd be very happy about that.
So 228 of you watching with us right now. Again, we all appreciate that. We look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully, there's a lot of action. Phil, I'm gonna wrap it up soon, but before we do, I'm gonna play a game with you, and our viewers can play along. So, I am going to put a player's name in the banner here that's still available. I'm gonna flash it on the screen, and you are gonna tell me what your prediction of where he goes. And again, viewers, you could also play along. So we were going to start
Yeah,
here.
play along on this side, everybody.
Tyler Toffoli, where is he going, Phil?
I hate to go with the easy answer, but LA. I feel like that's
LA,
going to happen.
okay.
I feel like he's going to end up there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rangers were one of the finalists for him, but I feel like he's going to end up in LA.
All right, I am going to go with Vancouver. They missed out on Guentzel. They're in the market for other players too. I think he fits there. All right. Next, you'll see who I flashed. I got some LAs in here. More LA answers. All right. Next up, Anthony Duclair. Where's he going?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? For some reason, I'm going to say Vancouver.
All right.
I feel like he'd fit in Vancouver.
Vancouver for the Duke. The Duke in Vancouver. I'm actually going to say the opposite of where you went to Foley. I'm going to say Duclair goes to LA.
Okay.
I think he's a low cost acquisition.
Oh, so you're holding these answers in for tomorrow?
Don't have a ton of space. Why not?
Okay.
Next up, Alexander. Well, because this way, once it happens, you could recall in your memory. Oh, I said this is where he's going. Next up, Alexander Barabanov.
I'm going to say Rangers.
All right. Okay. The Rangers. Do you see the Rangers gets the gritty?
Oh, your boy DP is being vague on Twitter and just puts up he put up a picture of the eye emoji. So
DiPietro?
No, Pagnotta.
Oh, Pagnotta. Oh. I thought you said. So when you said, it's funny when you said DP, the first guy I thought of was Rick DiPietro.
No. Pagnotta put up. He put up the eye emoji.
Okay.
So he's hinting that something is about to happen, maybe. So
Jason Zucker up next.
Jason Zucker. That's an interesting one.
David says Florida. J. Lewis goes Rangers. Anthony Bettis saying LA.
I'm gonna interesting one here. Islanders.
Oh, all right. The Isles. Okay. I mean, he certainly brings some grit. He could score. Wicked says Tampa ?
I thought about Tampa, but I think they're going to primarily focus on a defenseman. So,
you know what? I'm going to go. I know Boston needs a center, but that's dwindling. I'm going to say Zucker goes to Boston.
Breaking news. Anthony Duclair just got traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Look at that. We're just talking about Duclair.
It's official per the Tampa Bay Twitter. Wow.
Yeah, I see it. We have acquired forward Anthony Duclair in a 7th-round pick in exchange for defenseman Jack Thompson and Tampa Bay's third-round selection in 2024.
Yeah, Empire. We were telling you it was Beauvillier. So yeah, David.
All right. Well,
We
actually,
all changed our answer to Duclair.
did anybody actually say Tampa for Duclair before?
I don't think so. Tampa Bay Lightning acquire Anthony Duclair and a 2025 7th-round pick. Hold on. I was just trying. Someone, I just got a notification on it. Oh, it was Johnston's. Okay, so it's a 2025 7th-round pick along with Duclair for Jack Thompson and a 2024 3rd-round pick. So yeah, that's a real cheap ad right there.
Well, you were just talking about Tampa need to do something. They were losing the game. They're trying to hang on to a wild card spot, and now they add another score. All right.
And I have a feeling you're going to name somebody else, and and I'm going to name him to Tampa because I have a feeling it's going to happen.
All right. Well, here's the next guy I have up. Just talking about him, Jordan Eberle. Where is Jordan Eberle going?
I would have said Islanders, but I put Zucker there already.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if this is Vancouver now. I know some people are going to say
Edmonton,
Rangers.
David, Rangers.
I really think that
Boston.
Not only that, but they're familiar
back
with
to
him.
Islanders. Jay, you know what? I'm going to go Seattle too. I'm going to say he gets the extension done tomorrow and stays in Seattle. All right. So then, who'd you go with, Phil? Then who'd you say?
I went with Vancouver.
All right. Oddly enough, next up, another former Islander, as Mike Greck would say.
Yes, Montreal just tied the game against Carolina.
Kyle Okposo.
I think he ends up staying at Buffalo. I don't know what the market is for him. Who's going to go? He's not exactly a great skater. He's older. Not only that, but I think that teams are going to have to retain significantly on him too. On top of that, I think his cap hit is high. I don't think that. So Okposo, no, he's only at 2.5, so that's not really a bad hit. Okay.
You're thinking of his old contract that expired.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want him in New York. I'll tell you that right now. I really, he doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna. A lot of people have been saying Leafs. I'm gonna go Leafs. Depth. Plays some grit. He plays a heavy game.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what? I'll actually jump on board with that. It's actually a good one. I hate to do it, but I'll jump on board with it.
There's three more. Frank Petrano.
I'm going to say Rangers. I think they get the deal done for him. Not only that, but Petrano wants to be in New York. Like, do you see all the interviews through him, like the last few months? And how much he glows when he talks about the Rangers. And he said that was like the best experience of his hockey career, playing in Madison Square Garden and playing for the team. And he misses Kreider and Zibanejad. Yeah, I think he's coming back to the Rangers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rangers too. We have a couple of Rangers on here. Mike O, new
and then
viewer.
Logan, who's saying the daddies. He's calling them the Rangers.
Yeah. Jay, Rangers. David Wood saying stays with the Ducks. Anthony says Detroit sneaks in. I think I saw another team out there too. No one was commenting. State of Survival said Winnipeg.
Wow, that's an interesting one from State of Survival there. That's not nobody. You know what's funny? Nobody's really talking about Winnipeg.
Yeah. No, they're not.
Nobody's talking about them.
Former first overall pick back in the day, Eric Johnson. EJ, where does Eric Johnson wind up?
I'm going to say Tampa Bay.
I was going to say Tampa too.
Yeah, I think it makes too much sense. They need a veteran. I would want the Rangers to get him, and I would love to replace Gustafsson.
Yeah, Jay Lewis saying Rangers.
I would love the Rangers to pick up Eric Johnson and replace
Jay says leave.
Gustafsson. But I think it's
Mikey.
I think
Mikey
it's
going Boston.
I can see that.
I'm going Tampa as well.
Montreal.
All right.
Oh, Josh Anderson had the game on his stick. Wait, they called Montreal's goal back? It's only still.
They did?
Hide it. Wow. Okay. No, Josh. No, Jay Lewis. Miller would not be replaced by Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson would replace Gustafsson, if anything. And yes, he was first overall in 2006. So what happened with that year was that the World Juniors came around. Phil Kessel was the consensus #1 overall for a very long time, since about 2004 leading up to that draft. And then Eric Johnson had a monster World Junior tournament, and he ended up going first overall. Taves went Jordan Stahl went second. Taves went third to Chicago. Nicholas Backstrom went 4 to Washington, and Kessel went 5 to Boston. So,
and then Oposo was went to the Islanders that year.
Yep.
I forgot one guy, so I lied. There's 2 more. But Matt Dumba.
I was going to say Tampa, but I think they would rather get Eric Johnson. I really do. I wonder about Dumba's market. His cap hit is high. And I don't. He's not very good defensively. So a team that maybe
he's got a good
offense for the back end.
He's got a good shot.
He's got a good shot, and
he can really crank it.
But he's not very good in his own zone. So I don't. Dumba to the Stars. This is actually a good one from David Wood here.
I mean, but do they need? They got Harley. They got Heiskanen. They got Lindell. I'm gonna go Boston. I'm gonna go Boston for Dumba.
They could use another puck mover outside of McAvoy.
Yeah,
Grzelcyk's an okay puck mover. Hampus Lindholm is kind of underrated at moving the puck, but Dumba's not really a great defensive defenseman.
Mm-hmm. All right, last one. Pavel Buchnevich.
I think he stays.
Where's he ending up?
I think St. Louis is asking for too much for him, and I think he ends up staying in St. Louis.
Okay.
The only team that I could really see getting him. All right, so if I have to pick a team, like to move him to, it's Vegas.
That's what I was going to say. They wanted Guentzel.
They not only did they want Guentzel, but the familiarity between the 2 GMs from the Barbashev trade last year.
Yeah. So we got, oddly enough, we got 2 State of Survival saying Islanders and David Wood saying Islanders will overpay. Empire says no thanks for the Isles. Honestly, I mean, why would you say no to Buchnevich? I mean, he's a good player. I mean, I'd be thrilled if the Islanders landed him, but I'm going to say Vegas. I'm going to stick with Vegas. I think he goes Vegas. I do. They're always in everything.
I don't think that's happening, man. I really don't. It would require Drury admitting a mistake, and I don't think he's doing that. So, and I think the price is way too high for Buchnevich. A good player, but also they moved on from him because they
Chasing
felt he was too
Canucks.
soft. He was too soft.
Wicked saying Winnipeg. All right.
Winnipeg
I
would
hope
be an
all you guys are
interesting one.
watching now. Yeah. I hope all you guys that are watching now, you're on with us tomorrow. And if these guys get moved, remember what you said and let us know tomorrow if you were right
Yeah,
or if you were wrong. But that question, Phil, I actually just saw your text too. What time we're going on? I don't
yeah.
know. I guess we got to talk to Mark about that. I mean, I think he said he was home at 10 o'clock tonight. So maybe we'll shoot him a text. I mean, I say play it by ear, right? I mean, if things are crazy, let's say 11 a.m. I mean, well, let's go on at 11 a.m. But if there's not much going on, maybe we go 12 noon. But I say I think we need to let the action dictate. And like I said, if things are crazy, we'll hop on earlier. Um, Bruce, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Um, Hope to see you on with us tomorrow. And then David saying, "Okay, this is what Sarah Valley said yesterday about Buchnevich, that they're willing
Okay,
to,
so Mark is saying noon. Mark just replied in our group text noon.
yeah, noon is the plan. Um,
So I mean, we
yeah,
could go on
that's
earlier if it
fine.
gets crazy.
But if things are happening earlier, like for all you guys watching, like if the Islanders or the Rangers, make a trade before the time that we're going to go on, I'll say we're going to go on at 12. If one of those teams make a trade, at 11 or whatnot, we'll hop on earlier and we'll talk about it. And or if there's another big trade around the league, we'll hop on a little early if things are crazy. But
Yeah,
let's just plan for 12. Logan, thank you very much. We
yeah,
love doing it. So
yeah. This is it's a lot
Jay
of fun for
saying
me.
this is the true state of the union. 'Cause, yeah.
Yeah, we would
Uh,
much rather be the State of the Union than the. I don't even want to get into him, but he's the old man with dementia and all that other crap. But
oh God,
yeah,
Joe Shin saying now I want Buchnevich. Um,
Joe Shane
but
Train, you're very quick. You were down on Guentzel, and now you're on to Buchnevich. I like the way you think.
yeah,
Don't stay down long, man.
yep.
So,
I'm curious to see what the rest of the return is going to be on that trade. Um,
for Guentzel, yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I have a feeling it'll probably
I
get
mean,
announced.
what else does?
Probably by maybe like 11:30, and if it's not announced by midnight, we'll probably hear it tomorrow morning.
So interesting tweet for you here, Phil, coming from Cap Friendly. When you in regards to the Lightning and what else they could do after the Duclair trade, the Gold Bolts don't have a draft pick until fifth round of the 2024 draft. So they don't have a lot of draft capital.
And their prospect depth is some of the absolute worst in the league. Like,
Yeah.
absolute worst. Like, Brisebois is really trying to hold on when he should be trying to retool.
Yeah.
So
Let me just
Joe
actually
Shane
look
Train is
at
saying
that.
Emily Kaplan said on ESPN that the Rangers are looking at players we haven't heard about. That's interesting because that's maybe what they're going to need to do.
Do you want to speculate about who would that even
I don't know.
that we haven't talked about?
That we haven't heard about.
Let's see. Let me just look at some bad teams here. Out of Drake Batherson.
Maybe Andrei Kuzmenko.
Yeah, Kuzmenko. See, Columbus doesn't really have anybody. Montreal, Josh Anderson.
Larry Brooks would love that one. Oh, he would love that one. He's been on the Josh Anderson bandwagon for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, the Kachuk is a pipe dream. Brady
yeah,
Kachuk,
that's not happening.
isn't
They're
going
not
anywhere.
moving him. Stop.
If
He's somebody I would deal Gabriel Perreault though for. I tell you right now, if he was available, I would move mountains to get Brady Kachuk. Boone Jenner is probably not available, as I stated earlier on in the stream. That's probably not happening because of the fact that Davidson said that they don't want to move him.
Yeah. Calgary, Minnesota. There's really no one on Minnesota. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. But, alrighty. Well, it's up to you. I'm gonna head out. If you want, 211 still on here. You want to keep going?
I'm gonna wrap it up myself because tomorrow's going to be a long day. So,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap it up too. Thank you all for joining again. 2 nights in a row of NHL rumor streams. We went pretty long last night with a lot of the stuff that was going on. So it was good to have. We had over 300 people on last night. That was crazy.
Yep. No.
But
absolutely.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see all of you tomorrow. It's going to be fun. We'll have maybe we'll do another of one of the prediction games. We'll have more names to go over, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we know that one thing is, it's got to be. You know what? I would say I really wonder if Pittsburgh got Nikishin.
Yeah, I have to think Alexander Nikishin's probably part of that deal. I mean, last two, he scored over 100 points, 110 points between this season and last season in the KHL as a defenseman.
That's crazy. He's putting up a lot of points this year in the KHL.
Last year too, he had like 55 last year.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we'll see, guys. And listen, in this time of year, you never know. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you could see us again tonight if something ridiculous happened. But otherwise, we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe in the morning, 12 o'clock, if not otherwise. So, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Later.